Concentrate on the things you learn and obey His blessed command.
During this pandemic, we've seen a lot about the effects on adults and how they're stressed. Job loss, sickness, death, and adults has all been at the forefront. But many times we forget that our kids experience stress as well. They may demonstrate and respond to it differently, but they do still experience stress. They're not quite old enough to pay bills just yet, but they do still have things that genuinely concern them. I know you didn't think that your second semester will be full of e-learning and canceled student trips and activities. As a junior high teacher, I know firsthand some of the challenges that you guys are facing when it comes to learning new concepts that are usually taught in the classroom and practiced over and over before you ask to practice them on your own. I've seen firsthand the effects of isolation and not being able to hang out with your friends. Canceled 8th grade and senior trips, canceled proms and dinner dances, canceled graduations, all weigh on you, and I get it. But I encourage you to turn those negatives into positives and find new ways to make memories. I want you to think of this pandemic as a timeout in your favorite sport. Whether you're playing that sport or watching that sport, or it's the NBA Finals, which would have been going on right now, the concept is the same. The game is not over. This is just a timeout. Now, there's several reasons why a team may want to take a timeout. Maybe they're making mistakes that they don't want to cost them the game, and they need to fix them. Maybe they need to come up with a new defensive strategy against their opponents. Or maybe they're just plain old tired and just need a rest. Regardless of the reason, timeouts are meant to make us better in this game of life. First thing you need to do, rely on your coach. Look to him for guidance. You wouldn't just run out on a court or a field and do whatever you wanted to do, because you would cost your team the game. But you would consult your coach. Your coach in this life is God. You gotta communicate with him. Pray more, study more, journal, meditate. Just sit and think. You may have lost a loved one to this pandemic, or be struggling with isolation or challenged by e-learning. Now is your time to rely on him. You got to communicate to him what your needs are. And you never know, he might just send you a personal trainer to work with your needs exclusively. You got to use your resources. You never know how many people are around you and the strengths they may have. But you gotta ask for help, specifically when it comes to e-learning. At the Heights, we have a ton of teachers, both current and retired, who will be willing to help you. I remember this one time I was struggling with science really bad, and little did I know, Brother Gilbert is well versed in science. He pulled out that dry erase board and started writing and teaching, and before I knew it, I clearly understood the concepts that I was struggling with, and even some new ones. Now, he would have never been able to help me if he didn't know that I was struggling. Second thing you need to do, realize your mistakes in this game. We all make them. Maybe you didn't get the grades that you wanted this year. Maybe you were too afraid to pray in front of your peers. Maybe you did something to disappoint your parents, or maybe you said or did something to hurt a friend. Now is your time to fix it. Think about it. Think about who you are. Think about what weaknesses you may have. How can you fix them? How do people see you? How do you want people to see you? And most importantly, how do you want God to perceive you? It sounds silly, but you might need to actually write these things down and answer those questions on paper to help you build solutions. Remember, it's never too late to fix a mistake until the game is over. Which leads me to my next point. The next thing you need to do, rebuild. Set goals for yourself. When you put those goals on paper, that's your game plan. It may be academic goals, athletic goals, spiritual goals, or maybe just some things that you want to accomplish in general in life. But regardless of what it is, you got to put it on paper. And you got to stick to it. Hold yourself accountable. Next thing you need to do is refocus, re-energize. This pandemic took us all for a loop, and we had to cancel a lot of plans. But you got to realize it was for our protection. God usually does things for a reason, to get our attention and get us fixed and focused on Him. He wants us to take a time out, take a self-evaluation, maybe a little bit of self-care, grow closer to family members, and most importantly, grow closer to Him. Historically, tragedies and pandemics and things like September 11th have tended to make people get closer to God, and that's exactly what He wants us to do. The next thing you need to do, rally up your teammates. Although you can't hang out with your friends and family physically, you can't go to the mall or the movies, that doesn't mean you have to disconnect from them completely. Use those same resources that you have for e-learning to build one another up, to encourage one another. Your friends, your family, your brothers and sisters in Christ, now's the time to do that. Maybe you could have Zoom parties, Zoom calls, play an online card game, watch a movie or a TV show together at the same time. Maybe shop online together since you can't go to the mall, or even invite them to a church service virtually to attend and watch with you. Whichever method you choose, the key here is to build one another up. Remember, this is just a timeout. The game's not over. Rely on your coach, realize your mistakes, rebuild and set goals, refocus and re-energize, and rally your teammates. Be safe and have a blessed day.